is Ep.1 at the Helmet Racer. Today I'm going to launch my new series of time attack for F1 2012. Now the aim for this series is to give you tips and tricks of all the 6 time attack modes. Now I've done 4 of them so far, and some of them are easy, but one is really particularly hard, but I will get to that in later when the video comes up in the series. Now the first track I'm going to be tackling in is this Valencia Street Circuit European Grand Prix. Now over this series I have got some general tips which I always say at the beginning of each of the videos before I get involved in the track tips. So for the general tips I've got so far is always watch this video before you get into it. It will give you the basic of where the track goes if you haven't had any track experience before. So you can just watch this and see how the circuit flows and see where it is braking, looking at reference points on the circuits. But I will get to that in my lap as well, saying where do I brake and what gear should I be in and where to operate DRS. So if you've watched the video, you're ready to get on the circuit. Now if you had no experience on that track, in particular track, for example Valencia, and it is dry, just use DRS for the first couple of laps just to see where you can actually open the DRS and where is a good time to close it, because there are certain points in this track you've got to close the DRS to get the more out of the car. And it's the same in the wet really. When you get the wet, the DRS is disabled for the wet track, so don't use curves, just figure out the way around the track to get used to the grip levels and then slowly add the curves as each time you're going around a lap. And with that in mind, every time you go outside of the white lines or otherwise the track limits, it will invalidate your time completely. And you've got to be careful not to go off the track in the last sector, because in the last couple of corners if you go off the track it will disallow your time completely for that lap and the next lap. So you've got to be careful where the track limits are or where your car is being placed. So as this introduction video has come to the close in the last couple of corners, I'm going to share some of the track tips specifically for the track, and I'm going to give you examples in the form of video so it'll be able to help you out as you go along. But I think this video is the bronze lap time, so you've still got ages to get that gold. So one of the track tips I have got for you guys is that the track has slightly changed from 2011. So due to a new handling model, it is completely different of what gears you go through, and the gears are more important on this track than ever before. Now the first thing I've got to say is going into the chicane after the first long stretch. That chicane, or little complex as it were, it is a lot tighter than before, so you've got to really be careful not to go too fast through there and carry too much speed. Really you want to go slow and take it nice and easily. As you can see in the video ahead, you can just see how tight it is and how slow you got to go and how easy you got to put power on unless you will spin the car. And talking about gears just recently, don't be afraid to go into first gear on some of these corners. Some of these corners are better using first gear because then you could just build up the speed, and if you have to gear up midway through a corner, that's okay because then you get a bit more grip, a bit more traction out the corner. Yes, you lose a bit of time, but you're always a safer bet of going into second gear and making sure you've got that traction, not spinning out of control into a wall. Another thing that's changed in this game is the DRS. Now you're thinking, the DRS ain't changed, it's just the same thing, you press a button and the rear bin opens. Not necessarily. In F1 2011 you couldn't use DRS while a little turn without it oversteering. In this game you can kind of get away like it is now with having DRS open, and you're not going to lose the rear end, and that's always good. And another thing with DRS, you can use it on the exit the corner a little bit earlier than in the last game, giving you a little bit more speed advantage on the straights, and that always comes up in the lap time. The crucial tip for this track I feel is to brake early on the second to last corner, because that goes straight into a quick right into a very slow left onto the start finish stretch. Now you can easily lock your front right wheel on this track, very easy on that corner. I've done it several times in this practice, as you could see in the video that you're watching. It is so difficult to get that corner right if you're not using ABS. Now for me, brake early, brake as early as possible not as early as possible I should say, but try and brake as late as possible, but not a lot of pressure on it, because that causes the wheels to lock up, or the front right in this case. So you know, just try your best, and just, you know, it's just practice and practice, especially in time trial, just to get this lap right. So that is the track tips and general tips done. Let's get on to the hot lap for the gold medal. So as we're coming up to the final corner now, try and brake early. If you know that last lap was a bad one, turn in early and then open DRS and use all your remaining curves on this open lap as we go across the line to start our hot lap now. We're going into the first corner. Keep using DRS and brake just before the 100-meter mark. Maybe gear down the first gear just to get the exit good. Gear up early just to avoid the wheel spin. And now we're going to brake just after UPS sign on the right hand side and just take it nice easy through second gear. Now use a bit of curves on the exit here, go up to full fifth gear, now up to sixth gear, coming through to the right hander, and we'll go brake just again just up to the white line, gear it down to first, then gear up in the middle of the corner just to get a good traction. Be very close to the left, then go to the right, try and hit that apex just right. Use DRS and a little bit of curves along the straight down here. We're going to go at the top speed of about 200 miles per hour now, and to brake just where the curves start to appear on the left hand side. Take it nice and early, a bit wide for me there, but it's still a good lap on. Up to second, third gear, drop it down to second, let it roll in, then use DRS as early as possible as we can, going down the next and second largest straight on the circuit as we're going down to a very slow hairpin. Brake just before the LED board on the left hand side. Go into first gear, take it nice and slow, ease on the power. Don't use DRS here, it will unstable the car into this very nice complex that it is. Now use DRS as early as possible as you can there. Coming back to the final corner of the track, and we're going to brake slightly earlier and a bit too careful in my opinion. Could have got a lot more speed into it, and now use your DRS and the remaining lock curves. Keep to the right to get the fastest time, and there you go. Gold medal for the track. So that was the lap of my lap, and here are the options, and here are the driving sets. I've got everything off. It has manual and suggested, but you can't see suggested gear in game. So, and here we go, we're going to look at the leaderboard, see where I ended up, and I ended up 45th in the world for the PC. Now that is an amazing achievement for me, because I've never really been in like the top 100 on a time trial event. You just show up here, you can actually see the top guy's time. I think he's up 2 seconds faster than me, so I have no idea where he's got that lap time from. But I hope you did enjoy that, guys. I hope it did give you some tips and tricks for the Valencia Street Circuit on Time Attack, and I hope to see you for the next episode. So it's been F Racing Mad at the Home of Racing. I'll see you later, guys, and take care now.